Hey Isaac, this is Alyshan Parvez, and today we have on our podcast a very special guest. He's been the local committee president of AIESEC in Lahore. I'd like to welcome Alyshan Parvez. Thank you so much, Alyshan, for joining.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Rusha.
Okay, so I'd like to start the conversation by getting to know a little bit about your educational background, like where were you born, what kind of student you've been.
All right. So first, thank you so much for having me over. My response to this question is very simple. I've been in Karachi for all my life. Went to my undergraduate from LUMS Lahore, and hence that's when AIESEC happened. And right after that, I realized when AIESEC was happening, I was connecting with a lot of people, and right now I'm working as a brand manager for L'Oreal Paris Hair Care. So that is there. This has been my journey, but I think they say AIESEC never ends. So right here, I'm right back to this organization, which helped me build who I am.
All right. So, can you tell us a little bit about how did you come across AIESEC, and was it according to your expectations or beyond that?
It's a funny story because I'll tell you something. So when I was in my university, this friend of mine, she was also in AIESEC, and she was, I think she was the LCVP marketing back in the days. And I literally joined university. It's been just 2 days, and she told me that AIESEC is not for you, and I was like, okay, sure. And that's when I realized if someone is telling me that this is not for me, I would rather try and I would see what this organization is all about. So it started off with a challenge, and and then the rest was history because I started getting along with that one more person, and then of course it kept changing things for me. I realized the challenge which I took on me was not a difficult one because it was so much about people. It was so much about different organizing committees. It was so much about different tasks. It was so much about different projects. So I think all in all, it started off as a challenge, but then the entire organization was so welcoming back in the days. I'm sure it is still now. That it really didn't make me feel that there were different people. But the best part was actually the diversity, the difference in people. And throughout my AIESEC journey, I think I did, of course, a lot of different organizing committees, a lot of different positions, attended a lot of different conferences. But one thing which still I will remember is the day I joined AIESEC. I was sitting with a pool of different people, different mindsets, different organizations, and different universities. And that's when I realized that the best part about AIESEC was diversity.
Yeah.
And it's still, I'm sure, I'm 100% sure it still is the same.
And did you get a cultural shock after joining it?
I didn't get the cultural shock because, I mean, yes, at the induction conference when the executive board from that time started jiving, started talking about different NYDs, and I mean, it got me excited. But I was like, what am I getting into? But then I was sure that this will help me both personally and professionally. But yes, the cultural shock was for sure there. But as a key message for me back in the days by my mentors, it was simple that just embrace this awkwardness. If you're feeling awkward, if you're feeling that what's really getting into, just embrace it for a while. The organization will really accept you the way you are. So I think that's the culture shock I got.
Yeah, that was a very interesting story. So are there any pro tips you want to give to the present AIESECers that how to make the most out of their experience, and how did you make most out of your experience by applying for so many roles?
All right, so a message to all the AIESECers, honestly, it's very simple. I went with that message in every organization I went to, be it in AIESEC, before AIESEC, or outside AIESEC. It's just that, sometimes you feel people are very difficult, but they're not. They're very different. So this is something which is the most important thing, that the moment you feel that you're very comfortable with your own people, just get out of that zone, talk to people who are very different from you, because it's a very natural theory that you tend to like people who are exactly like you, right? Exactly your mirror image. So the message is very simple. The moment you're comfortable in something, just get out of it. And the same theory goes for your departments. If someone is so comfortable in marketing, ace it, master marketing, that's not a problem. But try learning, let's say, the finance side of it, or try learning the exchange side of it. So that's the second bit. Third is, I think, enjoy while it's there. I mean, I genuinely miss AIESEC. The times a couple of my friends conferences. So a lot of time you're in the process or you're in the organization, but you don't really get to acknowledge the highs and the lows. So most important part of your AIESEC journey is when you acknowledge your highs and the lows, that okay, this is the point where I really felt appreciated, but this is also the point where I didn't feel very high. I was very low. So you have to actually acknowledge all your highs and the lows, because that's what makes you a true AIESECer. And while all of this is going on, just stay true to yourself. I know there are AIESEC values: striving for excellence, living diversity, enjoying participation, but there are certain values which you also have. If your values interact with AIESEC, that's great. But if they clash with AIESEC, try figuring out a midpoint. Don't just say wrong to yourself, or don't just say to yourself that you're wrong, because AIESEC is all about meeting different people, engaging with different people. So just be true to yourself, acknowledge your highs and lows, accept people at their face value, and just get out of your comfort zone. I think that was my rule when I was in AIESEC, be it as a team leader, team member, and or maybe the executive board or the president, whatever the positions were or whatever the recognitions were. These 5 things I think were super close to me, and I'll be very honest, they still are. I apply the same rules, same formula right in my corporate life as well, and I think ISEC taught me these rules. That's if I were to be honest.
Yeah, that was a very thoughtful answer. Okay, so moving on, I have this question. Like, I'm a freshman, so I've always had this question, that how AIESEC helps you in your professional career.
Okay. I think this has to be my favorite part of ISEC, because the moment I joined, I mean, the reason I joined ISEC was actually just to build my professional network, and I had a very simple agenda. Yes, I will learn exchange, I will learn what I want to do, I will discover myself, I will redefine my potential, but I want to grow my network, and that's exactly what happened during the journey. So if you're a freshman or anyone who's, let's say, in the start of their or in the start of their career, or whatever their professional life is, I'll just be honest that try connecting with people, try networking with people in terms of how you talk to them, in terms of how you present yourself, because just don't stop yourself with this is what ISEC is, this is we have to do culture exchanges. Try networking with a lot of people, because if you don't network, you won't really get to know people. So that's the first one. Network with as many people as you want. And at the best tip of ISEC, and the best part of ISEC is that a lot of team members from the alumni community, I'm sure they will really talk to you. They will give you their time. They will mentor you. They will
Yeah.
guide you. So reach out to the network for sure. That's the first one. Second is, I think, know yourself as well, because sometimes you're so much into networking, you just don't discover yourself, right? So before actually going to the first step, that is networking, figure out what you really want to do. If you really want to get in the corporate world, make a list of a few alumni, a few people who are actually in the corporate world. Reach out to them. You guys also part of this WhatsApp group, which is all about else. I think local committee, ISEC and alumni, whatever the name is. But there's so many ISECers, there's so many alumni, there's so many people in the alumni community. So I think, yes, sure, network, but just know yourself, that what really do you want to do. Since you're a freshman, I would really recommend that figure out what your life will be after 4 years. They say, okay, don't go with the game plan. I say, really think about your game plan right now. I started thinking about my game plan back in my first year of ISEC, and I was like, okay, if I want to get into a lot of corporate networking places, I need to make such relevant friends, because ISEC is also about getting you the relevant friends or the relevant people, right? So I'm not saying go through business development side. That is, I don't know what the department name is, but there was a department back in the days which was business development or partnership development, which was back. It was all about corporate networking. Then it was an initiative by ISEC that we would invite all our corporate partners. I mean, that's just one way to also internalize and help your ISEC community get to the right networking opportunities. But my two rules are very simple: network, 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 but also figure out yourself, figure out for yourself who you really are and what you really want after 4 years. Do a game plan for yourself.
Thank you for such a great advice. It will actually help a lot, inshallah. So moving on, we have a session. It's a rapid fire. So I'll be asking you 5 to 6 questions, and you'll have to answer within 2 or 3 seconds, right?
Sure.
Okay. So your most memorable role at ISEC?
I think it was a team member role.
All right. The most fascinating thing about ISEC's culture?
It's people, the diversity.
YouTube or Netflix?
Netflix.
Your favorite ISEC chant?
Um, AIESEC in Lahore, AIESEC in Lahore,
Interesting. Okay, so which one feels better, life after graduation or life before graduation?
life after graduation.
Oh, that's interesting. Right. So we're moving towards the end of the podcast, and I have this last question. It's more of an advice that what do you see most of the young people, what's one mistake that most of the young people are doing today, and how do you think they can avoid it?
I think a lot of young people, if this is specific to AIESEC, right?
No, it can be like any
Generally.
freshman.
Okay. You know, the rule was when I was, I mean, I'm still young, but the rule was always that just enjoy your life. That's something which I've always heard when I was super, super young. Let's just say that enjoy your life. Don't think too much about things in life.
Yeah.
I've always realized that's not the best advice which I've ever gotten in my life. This is, of course, a lot of people will tell you, oh, you know what, enjoy. I think don't just enjoy too much that you forget your ambition. So, all to all the youngsters and all the youth out there, just know that what you really want to do, be ambitious, because at the end of the day, you really will grow one day, right? You can't just keep enjoying your life. Yes, you can enjoy the process of life, but you really need to know what your life will be after you're done enjoying the process.
Mhm.
So my two cents to life will be that know what you want to do, know what your game plan is, and during the process enjoy, but just don't keep enjoying to the extent that you forget what you really want to do or what your ambitions are. So that's my number one. Specifically to AIESEC, I think embrace diversity. That's the best part. The moment you go out of AIESEC, you will find so many different people. And my entire podcast, I think, should be just about diversity and how you have to embrace diversity. Because the moment you enter in your corporate world, the moment you enter in any other world other than corporate, also, you will find so many people, and you just have to get along with them. You have to work with them. You have to be friends with them. So embrace diversity as early as you can, because AIESEC is just the best part to embrace diversity. There is so much more which will be your way waiting for you. So yeah.
So thank you so much for giving such thoughtful answers. I hope it would help all the freshmen, all the present Isaacers. And I think that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for taking out time. Take care, everybody. See you next time. Goodbye.